And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Carson from South Dakota. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house.
What do you want down?
Say again?
That one right there. Oh,
That's
yeah.
you? That's you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Believe it or not, I collect firewood too. So. Well, I mean, I know you want these here like this here.
Hey, this is cool. Listen, folks. They don't know we're on the air. They're on the air. Hi, hi, Carlson.
Oh, good morning.
Hi, Carson.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Carson.
Good morning. All right, firewood. You talking about firewood?
Well, I've got some guys up here in my place. We had a big snowfall here. We lost a lot of trees, so they're up here cleaning up firewood. But I'm standing here talking to you and waiting to get on your radio show. So,
well, you are currently on the Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and I'm proud to say we've got about 50-degree temp. You know, Carson, here, let me share with you that due to the time constraints, I have two options here. And the phones are lighting up. There's Joe and there's Mary and John there with us. We also have James Bell. And James Bell is actually the head of consumer affairs with General Motors. Tony, can we just put those guys on hold? And Miss Jan, if you would, ask everyone to hold. Carlson, if you would, share with me your challenge. We'll take a break. I'll come back. We'll address that challenge. So you're on.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. I'm on a national radio show.
Yeah, well, you're not now. We're going to take a break. Hey, tell those guys to hang too, and tell them to stay tuned. And folks, you stay tuned. We're going to come back with Carson in South Dakota and you. Carson in South Dakota. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You ready to talk?
Well, I am. My guys they're out taking down trees and stuff. We had a big snowfall here a few weeks ago, and there's been hundreds of thousands of trees all over Rapid City that are down, and so I'm lucky to get these guys to come and clean up my mess. So
well, yeah,
I'm sorry to get interrupted.
Well, no problem. And to that end, in 2004, when we had Ivan, there were 6 trees in my backyard. One of them fell, and luckily fell, and I don't know, maybe maybe it was just fate. Maybe the hand of God had something to do with it. The tree fell. It was about 70 feet tall, away from it. If it had fallen toward my house, it would have fallen onto the bedroom, above the bedroom. It fell away over a fence into a house, and into between two houses. The house that was there had a pool and a pool closure and a little courtyard, and it didn't touch any of that. It maybe some twigs did. And then on the other side of that house that it fell toward, they were building a new house. It didn't touch that house. It was like if you and I had the opportunity, which we did not, to lay this 70-foot tree down at 5 o'clock in the morning and lay it down so it didn't hurt anyone's property. That's exactly what happened. I'll never forget that. The moral of the story, I had 5 other trees. I had 5 other trees in my backyard. Now, 0, not a zip. I took all those trees out, and so the next time we get a hurricane threat or a hurricane through here, I won't have to worry about watching that other tree that was going back like a loose tooth in a socket. I watched that one that hadn't fallen, and it was going left about 20 degrees, right 20 degrees, and then 45 degrees. And at the end of the day, and I have a picture of this, we had a crew out of Texas, and there was a guy's name. His name was Squirrel. This guy looked like he's 22 years old. He's about 40, and he was fit. I mean, he was ripped. You ever seen anybody top a tree? You know what topping a tree means?
Yes.
He topped that tree, and we caught a digital picture, when the top of the tree was falling, and I have this picture, 90 degrees, a perfect 90 degrees from the what was left of the tree, and there was Squirrel just below where he sawed the tree off, and of course they put ropes, and he sawed it, and we captured that, and it was pure. I didn't know that the tree guys were artists. They're daredevil artists to say. Anyway, let's talk about cars. But I don't want to share that story with you because you're in South Dakota. There, you got your tree problems. So let's talk cars.
They're heavy snow. We had a heavy snowfall, 40 inches of snow, and all the leaves and stuff around the trees. So it did a lot of damage.
What do you do with your car?
Well, Well, one of our car guys, I've got like 8 classic cars, and one of the car guys in our car club, we were talking about winterizing and what he do for gas additives, and he puts transmission fluid in his gas. And I was just wondering if anybody has ever heard of doing that. I haven't done it, haven't tested it, so I was just curious.
Well,
to see if anybody or you have ever heard that before.
No, yes and no. I put years ago and still condone this. I say condone it because it's for specific storage reasons. I like to put a classic car to bed wet, and I'll tell you what that means. It means that you run the engine, and first, when you store a classic car, just quickly, you have new oil, new filter, always. You know, just like a generator in a hurricane. You don't use the generator. You don't get the generator out and service it. You use it, and then you service it before you store it. That's the proper way to do. And then, in addition to storing, which you add, like, for instance, there's a new product out from Royal Purple that's Max Clean, and they have 2 different bottles. This year, they've got a 6-ounce bottle, which you should be aware of, that is not only a fuel conditioner, but it also is a stabilizer. So if you want to stabilize your fuel, it's good for all gasoline and diesel engines. It's Max Clean is the brand, and it's Royal Purple's Max Clean, which has a stabilizer. But they made a small bottle so you can use it for your lawnmowers and other things as well, and smaller engines, smaller applications. I have, and I do recommend, to pour, and this is pour with an engine running, maybe 4 ounces of a lubricant, automatic transmission fluid's fine, into the engine and let it smoke. And once the engine, of course, burns that, what you've done is you lubricated and treated all the lungs, the valves, the valve guides, the tops of the pistons, the rings, the walls. Yeah, you've made an oilaholic out of this engine, so to speak, and then you shut it down. And it's good 5 years later. Even in humid garages, 5 years later, there's going to be a film of oil, whereas if you just put an engine to sleep after a normal running, the cylinder walls do not have enough oil to last through the storage part. So to that end, that's the way I would store. Now, to put it in the gas would have an effect on rubber parts because fluid oil, softens rubber. So I wouldn't recommend that. And besides, you want to use additives where they're formulated to be added. In other words, you wouldn't put a cooling system conditioner in the oil, and likewise, you wouldn't put a transmission conditioner fluid in the radiator. So and another thing, and this is kind of a BGO, a blinding glimpse of the obvious, Carson, but you also in your windshield washer, and you know this there in South Dakota, in your windshield washer, you add washing fluid, not because you want to clean the windshield, because you don't want the regular water to freeze inside the container. So those are all the things that are applicable, and application. So I would not condemn your friend for putting oil in the gas tank. I would say there's a better, more positive way to do the same thing, I think, if I could read his mind, or at least I know what his intentions are. I feel that I do with my experience. So there's a more direct way, and that's slug the engine with oil with it running. You don't want to hydraulic the engine, so you want to pour it while it's running. And then as the car starts to smoke, you've coated everything from the mouth of the engine out the tailpipe, which is the absolute, essentially, the best way that you could possibly lube for storage. And then you use the Royal Purple Max Clean to stabilize the fuel. And then you use new oil and filter to keep the contaminants out of the oil. That's the way you do it. That's the way I like it. That's the way you do it. You got it?
That sounds great.
Okay.
I would like to let you know that I own Kim Radio, this broadcast is on, and we will get this information out there. We have several advertisers on your show, and we'll pass this along to get more mileage out of it. So thank you.
I thank you, and I appreciate that. And I will tell you, it's common for me to be on a morning show. So if you reach out to my team, I will be more than happy, and I'll join you one morning on a morning show, because I'd love to hear some minus 30-degree stories or 40 inches of snow stories and share those with people across the nation who are sunning on the beach. Hey, thanks for your call and thanks for help, and good luck with your trees, man.